Hi guys, welcome to this channel. My name is Loise and this is Loise's kitchen. Now, today is our second video and today we're going to make mandazis. The ingredients for this recipe are 3 cups of flour. 3 cups I've measured with this cup, which is 250 grams. So 3 cups of flour. Then we have a teaspoon of baking powder. We have a teaspoon of cinnamon. We have 2 tablespoons of butter, or you can use Blue Band or whatever is available to you. Then you have 6 tablespoons of sugar, or you can use honey if you prefer. Then we have grated desiccated coconut. I like the flavor that it gives to the mandazis. Here I have coconut milk, which is a cup. And it's supposed to be in room temperature. Then here I have some water, so mixed warm and cold so that I can use it. I don't like using cold or boiling water. So we're going to take our flour, then put in our baking powder, put in our cinnamon. The ingredients are going to be down in the description box. So do not worry if you didn't get everything and the portions that we are going to be using today. So you mix the dry ingredients together just roughly, just to make sure that they're incorporated in your flour. There are people who like using eggs. You can use egg just to make it more rich, but personally I prefer not to use eggs. So I think this is fine and good enough for me. Then at this point, I will add the butter in so that I rub it into the flour. So now here, I will have to use my hand so that I can make sure that I press it in and just get it in the flour. Also, someone might prefer to use whisk. It's optional, so that is also okay, but for me I like doing this by hand. So the butter is almost melted in, just to make sure that at least most of the places, it's gotten to most of the places in the flour and it's well incorporated. The texture changes a bit and you'll notice that it's a bit fluffy. So this is almost good enough for us. And as I'm doing this, I'm also making sure that I'm mixing everywhere, so where the cinnamon and the baking powder had not gotten into, it will get there. And also by doing this, it gets in air. So this will also help our mandazis to puff up. So this is the point where I'll put in our sugar. So these are 6 tablespoons of sugar. So I'll mix just as much, but sparingly. This should be good enough for us. So this is the point. I'll add the grated coconut. This is just for flavor. I love the flavor that grated coconut gives to foods. It's just amazing. So this is fine. And I think at this point we are good. So I'll create a well in the middle, and now add our coconut milk. You can use plain milk, whatever you have available, and if you're allergic to milk, you can feel free to use water. So this is at room temperature, so you just add that in and just mix it up a bit, just give it a start. Give it a start, and then I can now tell that this will not be sufficient for us. So now this is where the water will come in. So I'll put in the warm water little by little. The dough we are looking for is the one that is close to chapatis. So only it's slightly softer, but we are looking for a dough that is close to that texture. So this process will take us about 5 minutes, well needed. So you just incorporate the liquid all around the flour. Mix it in. I need some little water. So you notice so far we've used 1 cup of liquid, which was thick, because remember we've used coconut milk. The water we've used is barely a third of the same cup, so you need to be careful so that your dough does not get too watery. Remember, it's easier to add water than to remove it, so you need to be careful so that you don't now have to measure more flour to just get it to the right consistency. So just add some little water and continue kneading. This is good for me. So at this point, it's a bit sticky, and I feel I need to add some little flour to it. So I need it a little bit more. I don't want it so hard, I don't want it so soft. So I'll continue kneading it until I get a good consistency. The whole process takes approximately 5 minutes, just to make sure that you're getting the flour to be well kneaded. So at this point I can place it on my surface and continue kneading from here. So put some flour here and now knead sparingly. And it's almost what I want. I can feel it's good enough now. Just a little bit more. It smells good because of the coconut. I can feel the smell of the coconut, the cinnamon. This is just, I can't wait to just prepare and eat and enjoy. I think this is fairly good. You can see the consistency is good. So at this point, I'd like to put it in a container. Let's let it rest for a while. for about 20 or 30 minutes approximately. Sometimes you can even let it rest even at night if you have time. Maybe you come home and you need breakfast for in the morning, so you can knead this, cover it well with a clean film, and just put it in an airtight container. The next morning you can use it. You can make your mandazis. So I'll use the same container. I'll just put some oil in it. Consistency, if you'd like to see, this is the consistency I have. It's the same consistency for chapatis, only it's slightly softer. Slightly softer because you don't want hard dough. So I put a little oil. This is vegetable oil, just a little, just to coat the base of it. You don't need to put in vegetable oil in it because already you're cooking it in oil. So our dough is in the dish, and usually I prefer to cover it with a wet cloth. You can also use a cling film. I use a wet cloth so that the moisture is just well captured, and then I put it to rest somewhere for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes approximately, so that by the time I'm coming it's well rested. So I'll clean up a bit, and then you'll join me when we start making the mandazis. So guys, welcome back. It's been about 2 hours since I made this dough for the mandazis, the spiced mandazis, and by now definitely it's rested well enough. It's smelling really good. So as you can see, it's not dry because we had put some oil, so it was well protected. You can just see the way it's just good consistency. It's just stretching. I just love it. So now we're going to go to making the mandazis. I think I'll cut in half and use half of this for the first bunch. Put this here on the side, so it's more easy to work with. So I'll dust my surface a little bit, not so much, just a little bit to be able to roll out. And I'll feel, depending with how I feel, then I'll know how much more flour I'll need for the surface. So I'm not going to make such thin ones, and you can cut in your desired shapes. You can use a donut size, and if you don't have a cutter, you can also use a cup to make the round shapes, and then use like a bottle cap or something that is round in circle and make those kind of shape. But for today I'll just make random square or rectangle sizes, just small ones which are manageable. I think this is thick enough. This is thick enough for me. I don't know if you can see the size. That is the size that I'm looking for. This is slightly thinner, but it's okay. This is the size I actually prefer, so that it can have food inside, so to say. It can have, it's not a hollow mandazi. So I'm going to cut. We're ready to cut, and I prefer using the other side of the knife, just preference. And also it doesn't make my knives blunt, it's just preference for me. So here we are, and I think this size should be okay, or this size. Yeah, this size should be fine. So I'll cut it that way, and that size should be fine. So I'll line them up here, and then the cloth adduced, which is still slightly damp, it will come in handy to just cover them so they don't dry out. So I'll continue cutting the shapes. And this should be fine. Feel free, if you also have a big pan to fry them in, maybe you can cut big sizes, and that will make your work faster, and you'll finish within a short time. But this works well for me. So you see, I'm about to finish with this first lot. So that is done, and that is almost done. And this is the last small piece, and I think I can do two like that. So then I'll move them and cover them here so that they remain moist. The cloth doesn't cover all of them at the same time, but at least as I start deep frying them, I move the cloth to the place where it's not. So we're going to check if our oil is hot enough, and I usually use a cooking stick to check. You can use a thermometer if you have one. I don't, so this works pretty much very well for me. So if it bubbles, and it is, then it is hot enough. So if you see that reaction, then that oil is hot enough. Now I can start putting my mandazis inside, and I'll start with the ones that I prepared earlier. So you can see this, they're different sizes, they'll cook differently, different times, so you just have to be able to move around. Remember, don't put the mandazis towards yourself, put them away from you. That avoids any burns. So as soon as the first one comes up, this one is up, turn it. This one is up, turn it. This one is still struggling, turn it. This one is up, turn it. The reason you do that is so as it can evenly swell. So you'll see in the next bunch that this will happen a bit easier. This being the first bunch, it takes a bit longer to get to what you really want it to. Make sure you don't overcrowd your pan. Just give it room to maneuver, especially for the first bunch. Just give them time. So we'll give this a minute on both sides. On one side, just to get the color that we want, and we want a golden color on both sides. I'm going to just reorganize the mandazis and cover a bit more of the ones that are not, just so they don't lose moisture. I mean, I can choose to use another cloth, but this will work just fine for me. So just know where your last ones are. I know I'm going to come like this and then like that. So just know where, how you place them. At least I have an idea of how you have placed them, so that you can also try and put as much of the first lot as much as possible. So you give the others time to rest a bit. So we'll check our mandazis. I think they're getting a better color now. Yes, this is good. So we're going to put in our mandazis. Remember, don't put them towards yourself, put them away from yourself, like that. Away from yourself. This will prevent burns. So just push them a bit and encourage them to rise. So we'll turn the first one, the second one, and just push them in, and of course push them in so that they can swell up. Encourage them to just get some air, and then so I'll add 2 more this space. I'll add some 2 more. So as soon as it comes up, just turn it. This encourages it to puff more and to cook more evenly. So continue turning the other mandazis as they continue getting the color that you want. You can add in 1 more. There's still some space. Just make sure it's manageable space so you're not unable to turn the others. So just encourage it to come up by just pressing it in the oil. Then as soon as it comes up, just turn it and then push it back to the oil, and there it is, now it's puffed up. So keep turning the others that had already turned slightly brown, and then turn the other ones so that they can also now cook on the other side. So this is the consistency I'm looking for, or rather the color. So I'm going to put them in this. So get out as much oil as you can. If you have a spoon for deep frying, better to get out as much excess oil as possible. They're really smelling good, so it would be really nice if you guys tried this recipe. Let me know what you think, especially with the flavors I had used. I used coconut milk, I used desiccated coconut I added, and I also used cinnamon. So other than that, it's just the usual ingredients. And remember, if you're allergic to milk or desiccated, anything that you're allergic to, just supplement with what you prefer. So you see now the oil is hot and the mandazis are coming up pretty much faster than they were. So finishing up this lot will not take us so long. So this looks really nice. Turn these others. Turn this other little one. I love this color. It's really, really nice. So if you like this color, you can remove it at this point, but just make sure that both sides are evenly cooked, or if you like them a little bit darker, just let it have some more time. So I'll turn it back, just letting it have more time and more color. This one is almost ready, and we're almost done. So we are putting in the last lot of mandazis. I'll let this one first rise before I add those last two. So just like I had said before, as soon as they rise up, turn them gently and then push them in, just encourage them to puff. Now I have some more space. These are the last two. As you can see now, the rate at which they are cooking is really fast, and they're also rising faster than they were initially. Just do it gently, then gently push them in so the oil covers them, and that encourages them to puff. And there they are. So now I'm going to turn the ones which I had put in first, because they are now getting to the color that usually I like. As you can see, here are our other mandazis. They are evenly brown. I like this shade, I like this shade. And you can see that there's food inside. It's not just a puff, there's food inside. So at least it will be filling. It also smells really, really good. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy this recipe once you try it out. It's crunchy and soft at the same time. You can take it even without tea or any drink. I'm waiting to hear what you guys will say about this recipe. So now we are removing the last lot. They are all done. There is the second last and finally the last. Here are the mandazis. The spiced cinnamon and coconut milk and desiccated coconut. You can also use milk. You can also use plain water if you don't want to use milk or you don't have it. Just try with the cinnamon, and if you can, get the coconut. And enjoy with a cup of tea, or take them just as plain as they are. They are just amazing. Thanks for joining me today. It's been really a pleasure hosting you. So I hope to see you again next week, same time. Bye.